Oh, hello.
Oh,
So, got things working. 2 Xboxes side by side equals split screen Far Cry 6 and so much more. And little small screens, but at least you get to see what's going on both of our screens, which was one of the few things we had problems in the past that we've been rectifying more and more as we can go on and on. But yeah, I need to get the sounds running. Doop. And shorts. Oh, that's go.
Don't worry, I'm a friend.
How'd you escape out of here? Up here?
yep. And this is the hard part. So when you gotta look up, there's a grapple,
Oh, okay.
but there's no electricity because I fixed it. Never mind. Because you would have to time it. It was off.
Damn. DJ was way the fuck up here, huh?
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Wait a minute. Where did you go?
I left.
Yeah, but I mean, where do you go to leave? So what I'm trying to say, up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's just the one entrance exit.
I have to mess with this turn ratio. Super quick.
This is Far Cry 5.
No, it's Far Cry
Or Far-
6.
Far Cry 6.
Yes.
Sorry. We were trying to get 5 to work earlier.
Go.
The horse is up the hill. We're just gonna get a new horse? It's up there.
Where?
On the hill.
Oh,
Being a crazy person. Crazy horse.
good horse.
That's it. You're okay.
No, won't jump down there. Fair enough.
You bad guy. Why are you running?
We see now.
Well, what now? Where? This bad guy. Whoa.
You just grenade my horse? You mean part. Where did you get her?
I got her.
Easy.
Grenade my horse. Where's my horse?
Let's go.
Are you okay? Inlane's dead.
Do we even have a mission to do right now?
No, we were doing a treasure hunt.
Okay.
He wants to drive a Volvo. Right? Take a horse.
Go.
I don't even remember riding a horse until
Right now?
this. Yeah,
Same. I had no
I
idea
think this is
that.
the first horse we came across, actually.
That's fair.
But then again, we started this game up a couple years ago.
Long time ago.
Huh. Do we... Okay, here we go. Now, where does it show up on the map, though? Over here? Okay. Or not. But can we fast travel? No.
Whoa now.
Wait a minute. We should take the car.
You want to take the car?
I'd rather.
Hey, I'm down. I'm gonna put my horse away.
What the fuck was that?
I crashed my horse.
I think at the same time, my horse collided with this thing.
That's hilarious.
Hold on, can I make it auto drive? No, I won't shoot you. No road to follow, what do you mean?
Must be in the jungle. I want to get new weapons so bad. I dislike all of my guns.
A lady in the road fucked me up. Nice.
Hey, I mean, however you gotta get there.
What are you doing? I hit auto drive and he just flung himself into the wall. Alright. Calm down, Mr. Man.
Warren, make it.
He just wants to drive in the wall, I gotta fight him. Stop it! Let go! Stop it! Oh, that's great. I am so glad we just got that shit happening. Fuck. That was crazy. Can we go this way?
I was bracing for impact. That's hilarious.
Might as well at this point. There has gotta be a road up here we're missing out on. Yes, sir. Okay, can I go down that way? I see another road, but who knows, man. Traveling to destination, thank you. And he's driving in a straight line. For now.
We'll see. Every time we do the auto drive, he just... like he's blind. Oh, don't hit the truck, don't hit the truck, don't hit the truck!
Yeah, this dude is driving like a crazy person.
I'm hitting imaginary brakes.
Want to make a delicious mushroom, pepperoni, and sardine pizza for lunch. What kind of mushrooms? Just a regular, like, Porto? Or the shiitake? Is that the ones you get at the store more often or not?
Yeah, and button mushrooms.
Yeah, portobello.
Yeah.
Sir, what are we doing?
Pizza's delicious.
Like, seriously, this dude is just driving like a madman. I love how he slows down for the speed bumps too. Such a gentleman.
No, that's good. Ooh, things up there.
Oh no, we like fish a lot actually.
Oh yeah, we love fish.
Honestly, I have never had sardines on pizza. It's super rare where we're from.
Yeah,
You can't even get it on pizzas anymore. That was stuff I get when I was a kid,
I wouldn't be
eons ago.
opposed to making one though. Like from scratch.
I'm sure the right toppings, seasonings, sauce, all that good stuff. I'm sure it'd be delicious.
Oh, what are we supposed to do here? Bye,
Um,
guys. Go back in.
I don't know. Make contact with Philly. So maybe not, unless he's in trouble. But yeah, that was a bigger thing when, like 30, 35 years ago when we were little.
Worry about being thrown in jail.
Hey, I want the same with my boyfriend.
Okay, this is just a setup.
That's really on our side.
It's a gamble. But Clara is actually fighting Castilla. Hi.
I guess not. It's like 3,000 meters away.
I can't wait for
Okay, I'm gonna go to the star over here. How about that?
now.
Is that getting caught up on there? Hold on. Turn that down just a little tiny bit. Doot, doot. On both of these TVs here.
Where's the thing 3,000 meters away now?
Yo, it's my favorite, Gary. So you know, I'm a badass radio DJ.
Oh, please, oh, it's
Okay,
like,
that's a lie. But you inspired me, Danny, with your Gary-ness. I dream of my sexy voice. Maximus Matanza's
Dream
music,
of my
and
sexy
Libertad's
voice.
messages all over the airwaves. I
Yes.
call it
Oh my
Radio
God.
Libertad. I dream of you spraying a logo. Yes! Oh, I can't wait to tell you and Paulo see
I
this shit.
I am so overwhelmed by your super sexy voice. I couldn't hear it any longer. Ew. Break it. I can't interact. Can I watch stuff though? Well, I can't kick it. And Joseph. We like to kick Joseph in the face.
oh, we love kicking Joseph in the face. It's my favorite pastime.
Inside the mind, you get to play as him? Hmm. It's the only thing I could think of. Um, do. Huh. Okay. Let's go over to this star. See what that thing is. Oh, is it a dead end?
Fucking the blue star?
Yeah, there's a star, like a diamond over here, with a star inside of it. Yeah, you found it. Person might have a mission.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
Ah, I can't jump. Weird.
Oh, great.
Finally, some fun. Normally, I wouldn't suggest we take a road trip into the mouth of hell, but in this case, hell is threatening to swallow Yara.
But yeah, throw something like that, the type of pizza up in an air fryer though, might actually get a nice crisp on it.
I like your style,
And it'll do all of them, or is it just one at a time and they kind of send us off somewhere, like in the last game?
You need to freshen up that gear.
I mean, we don't play together, but okay.
But
Yep.
fun.
So you sell goods out of your taxi. Smart.
Oh, you know what? We
Yes, and I
should
get
have
all posted
turned
for my fares. It's how
the
I found out about
dialogue
this
off on one
crazy
of
shit on the
ours.
market.
Here, press and hold
Castillo's
B.
military
I'm
created
gonna
a
turn the
chemical
dialogue off on mine. I already turned the
All
music
right.
off.
Where are you
One more
taking me,
time.
Lola?
to the fucked up villa of Senor Alvaro Rocco. Come mierda.
I guess I could have been the only one that did it. That's okay.
Yeah.
With that turned down. Ooh.
Ammo in the trunk if you need
I
it
just
again.
need the guns and the grunts and the groans. Uh, all that nonsense. Extraction. Ooh. Yeah. If you can. Yes, you can. Okay. I can equip it, right? There we go. Well, honestly, you should probably do. Oh, never mind. Do, 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 do. These are all locked up too. What the fuck is that thing? Oh, it's the nail gun. Okay. What can I do to it? Nada. No. Nothing. Okay. Yeah, why not? I have no idea if that's a good one or not. Do, do. What if this thing can actually fly one day
Vámonos, Danny. I need to get moving.
Yeah.
instead of just rush forward? All right. And we take the car or what? Do we go on foot?
I don't know. Hard. Damn, it's hard. I don't remember what the little thing said. I'm supposed to do it. Find the sergeant, kill him, or take his key card, get a cooler.
Find the crocodile southeast of the lighthouse. So we're just pretty much following a road all the way down, and we can go off to the side and explore little pockets here and there of civilization. So, good. Wait, I guess we can't take the car. Never mind.
Oh, she's our extraction, I think. We gotta go get the stuff, come back, and she'll save us.
Okay, well, I don't know if we should just take the road outright or look for a trail instead. Yes.
Where did you hear that?
Travel along the ridge, I guess.
Oh. Where's the
El Capitan. I don't see anybody. Anywhere. Right. There we go.
Well, that's over this one.
I'm barely zoomed in at all. Can I zoom in further at all? Whoa, no. But that'll help. I don't see anybody.
No, me neither.
Here, do you have a vantage point?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down there and take a closer look. Keep an eye on my back, please. Yeah, I don't see anybody down here so far. Get through here to the end. Yeah, I think you're good. Just a supply point, I guess. Hmm. Oh, friend or foe? Where'd you go? I don't like that. It'd be crazy to send in reinforcements on us, or just, a check-in, little scout party on us. I need to open my field of view up just a tiny bit. Feel very tight, closed in. Hi, kitty. Hmm.
We're down there either.
Aim assist? No. That usually messes me up. Because I'll go to aim every time.
Nope.
And then if it's doing it for me, then I just kind of off track right after it puts me on the target. It's annoying.
So, is that white arrow where we need to be at?
It looks like it's a bad guy, maybe?
Oh, that is.
Am I down there?
Yeah.
Okay. Which way did you go? Okay. Let's see. There's a couple little encampments I can see. And get both the snipies out.
And wipe them all.
Oh, if you press up on your D-pad when you're out of the gun mode or view, you can zoom in real close. Like, press up on your D-pad, tap it, and zoom. Right trigger, left trigger. Get a little bit closer and clearer. Don't have the actual sight in the way. Why's this all
I
highlighted?
see you, sniper.
There we go. A little easier to see to do that. Oh, they have a sniper themselves.
Where?
Look at my screen. Towards the front. Down. The guy that looks like a target.
Oh, I see it.
He's a sniper, I guess. Salter. This is all new. I like how it brands them as different things. 5 doesn't do that. I don't know why this game got such a bad rap, other than it's just a little bit harder. Can I see these fools? I need to get a little bit closer. Hmm.
We had a pretty good vantage point after the all of it.
We're good.
Now it's over.
We're good. I think it'll be best if we got from both sides over here. It'll confuse them. Can I climb? Come on, let me up there. It's a perfect spot. Get me up there. Okay. I guess it's not that perfect. Is it?
Where you
Well,
going after?
I can't see. I guess I can see right there, but I want to get that sniper.
I have a beat on the back of his head right now.
Okay.
But I'm
Just let
waiting.
me get in position. I know. Hopefully this will work out. All this planning. All right, you got the sniper.
Yeah.
I got this guy doing some weaponry. You ready? On your mark.
Oh, hold on. I tried holding my breath. Let's get off.
Oh, you just press it and it will do it for a while. You don't press and hold it like the other game.
Alright.
Go. Eh. Are you really just gonna? Okay, I was gonna say you're gonna come right to our position. Oh, come on. Peeky peeky. Ah,
Wow. I am missing. Wish I would have at least. Do not kill the general, I don't think.
is that the person in the middle, or is this just a little
They
encampment?
have a key.
I think it's just a little encampment. I think that's it. So I guess just look for supplies.
Oh, shadows. What is this?
Ooh, shady thing. Oh, there's somebody here.
Nowhere else.
Damn it. Oh, as I swung. Itch. Trying to sneak up behind her. But it seems like your crouching speed is so much slower than 5'2". Like, I can't just sneak up to
Nowhere
people like
else.
that.
Very slow.
Very, very slow.
Hurts the man.
Yeah.
Did you get whatever the... Oh, here we go. The maps will tell you where to go. Okay.
I think auto's the select button too. I do believe. Maybe it's maybe. Don't we share things we pick up, like ammo and stuff?
Not ammo, but like... materials.
Hmm.
It might be everything. Hey. No, don't slide, you dumbass.
Hmm. About here. We missed one over here, but we don't really, I don't think we really need to go over there. Unless we just want to be thorough for shits and giggles. But this is a major encounter we're coming up on right now.
ID and targeting.
I don't know. Whee!
Pretty close. Oh, well, there's a box back here.
Do tell. Where? Oh. You saying nobody's getting marked?
It wasn't for me, no.
Maybe it doesn't get marked with that. It only does work with a sniper rifle or something.
I was using the medium thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to use a sniper rifle.
Maybe.
I don't know. Kind of weird.
All the way over there.
Snuck around. So you mess with that turn ratio.
Give me in the bush.
There's somebody. Hmm. Trying to be a ninja. I guess you don't really have to be ninja. Why don't you come over here and check out what's going on over here? You think you saw something? Come check it out. Yeah. Come on. Over here. Peekaboo. What? About to shoot him in the back of the head. Do you have a beat on anything or anyone?
I just shot a woman in the back of the head and then almost got seened.
What?
Fair enough. Samesies.
He took a night-night.
It's good night night.
I don't think he can
Can I
send it
not
back.
use this? Okay, here we go. Anybody?
You are so far away from me.
Where did you go?
I barely made it out of where we were.
Oh,
Because the only way to go was across the bridge that had people on it.
I think I killed everybody.
God, no. I was going down the hill to try to go around it. There was peoples.
Ooh, oh, is it beavers? Everywhere beavers? Oh,
Okay, I keep going down it.
there you are.
Hello.
Hi.
Is that a bad person's?
Why would it matter if I cleaned myself off or not?
How is she? How is she?
She just chilling, huh? I wonder if she would have gotten shot if she just walked up in here earlier.
I don't know, there's people. Like, bad people.
Where, over there?
Yeah.
Those are bad people? The person sweeping the street? I don't think that's bad people. That might be bad people, though.
No, over
No?
there, the ones with the
Okay,
white.
yeah. Those are bad people. We don't have to even deal with those people, though. We can go around. They love that. They were
Yeah,
hungry.
they
They,
liked it a lot.
they need a little lead and iron. They were low in their diet. Ooh, here's an encampment. That's like the earworm of all earworms. I am so sorry.
Yep. It said it was a long day.
Oh, I bet.
There were phenomenons.
People? There is people.
Ooh. Look at you, setting the world on fire.
Got two marked. Oh, look at you.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Oh,
I see you.
oh. There we go. We both shoot him in the face at the same time? Hell yeah.
Mine was a little bit after. Oh, the ones I did. Okay.
Oh! Oops. Hey, they are coming right at me. I meant danger. What are you doing? Okay, these are all just people
Yeah.
working their day, making the foods. I think we're good. Ah. Ooh. So sprinkly. Look at my eyeballs.
Refreshing.
Behold. Open your eyeballs. Clean everything. All of it. Man, you could really hide up in this shit. Look at this. Can you see me?
In the white flower.
There's some serious veg in this game.
No, where are you over?
Look for blue blip. Yeah. And you can see the blueness, but you had to like
No.
walk right up on
I
me.
hid from enemies earlier.
Hell yeah. And it worked?
Did work.
Nice. Like, we might be getting approached here.
Nope.
Okay, good. Well, these guys are just walking down the road. Bad guys just walk down the road in this game. There's just bad guys.
There was bag out. Oh, I missed your fade. Next time.
Alright. Make sure we're going the right way. I can't tell.
Oh yeah, we need. Where's
Where's what?
the encampment? Tells
Oh,
you.
let's see. We need to go
There's a
south.
map.
What, there's one here?
Yeah.
Okay.
It tells you exactly where the bad guy is.
Yeah, but we're in like, what, 2024 when this game came out? And 5 had a map that worked and told you where you were?
Well, this is where this mission is.
Yeah. Where's my innovations?
The GBs.
They're trying to tingle the immersions in all the wrong ways. I found it. So we were getting really close. We need to head south and east. Wait, there's a bad guy. Right there.
Oh, you got a lot of water.
Wow, they are just like... Kill it! Oh!
Oh, excuse me. Is that not yours?
That's not mine. That's why I said kill it.
Now it's pet.
No. Not pet. It looked like pet. I think it was hers. You okay? Your character's good. It's just some crocodile bites. Nothing.
Right
Not nothing.
here is Stretch.
The bad guy's right over there. I can see him in the beat. And a little compass. Mini map down there. Now, is that where we need to go? Because
Oh my god.
I think we need to go over this way.
Well, that's really pretty. I bet you
Yeah, it is.
that's what you think of it.
Oh, yeah. It's a big old encampment. I can see it. I have to get a little bit closer. Holy shit. This place is huge. Hmm.
Those aren't bad.
Yeah, I do not see... Unless there's good people mixing with the bad people. Because we still have no trespassing on the mini map over here. I don't see anybody though. Way harder to see people in this game than it was in 5.2. Lots of vegetation.
Objective complete.
What objective?
Oh no, I fell down the hill.
Lola, your intel was solid. Rocco loves him some crocs and he's totally beyond
Inside search
that. Where the
zone.
weapon is?
It's in the cooler, but I'm guessing only Rocco has access. Do what you gotta do, Danny.
I use the restroom real quick.
I think Rocco's
If we're in a
inside
safe
more
zone,
expensive cuts
I'm
of
gonna
meat than me.
just... You gonna chill?
Yeah.
Okay. They would do the little commercial break.
What's this trespass? How is he all the way over there? Not safe! Run! Here, can we do a better weapon? Aw. We're not in a safe zone.
Oh no! I am so sorry.
I have garbage weapons.
Oh shit, I didn't know that was a croc. Yeah, run from me, motherfucker! I'm coming to get you. Yeah! He smoke grenaded me. That's hilarious. He's like, oh shit! It got you! Ha ha ha! Sneaky fucker. Oop. I need to get better at the shooting.
Need help. Does that thing does it exist?
What, health? I have no idea.
Yes.
Where
Oh,
is this
Put
person?
scars out on yourself. That's how you heal.
Oh yeah?
Weird.
That is really weird. I don't know. Oh, I got him. Nice.
It was me in a direction. Got a sniper like after the deal.
There's some sneaky guys with smoke grenades and oh man, I can't remember what the heck that stuff is called that people wear. It's got leaves all over it.
Billy suits?
Yes, thank you. Okay, I should have had the sniper rifle. Oh, son of a bitch.
Whoa!
Was
You know-
safe at one point in time, and then it wasn't. What's this? Where? Where?
Snipey McStoogle face.
Stupid.
Is your face like bullets? What is happening? That was odd. How are you gonna get shot in the face like 4 times? Maybe I didn't shoot the face.
Maybe.
Shot the face.
Man, this. Ah. There you go.
Repinga.
Is that it?
You been in the house?
I did, but I didn't get to look around because I was trying to take those people out.
Oh, this is the box.
What the hell?
So we had to extract.
That's a crazy ass box.
It is.
Good news, Lola. Rocco's with his croc in Swamp Heaven, and I got what we came for.
Nice work, Danny. I'm on my way. Careful with the PG-240X. It's highly volatile.
Muchas gracias. I
Hmm.
was trying to forget about that part.
Just keep it cool. Try to stay in the shade. Get it in water as much as you can, and you'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
That's why there are water symbols everywhere.
Why for?
You need to keep it in water as much as possible.
Oh, really? Yucky.
What happened to it?
I don't know.
Oh, that's right.
Do you just have to put... I think you have to take it... Oh, I see. Never mind. So, how long does it last? No idea? Because it's good and we should run, I guess, huh? The next water source?
Yep.
Hot potato? Very hot, spicy potato?
There's somebody behind me.
Go right over here, there's a pond. Run down in there. I'll get this person. Or thing. Is that a person?
Where's the next water source? Can we just stay here and keep it cool?
What do you mean? We just have to, we have to take it to the extraction point, don't we? Hold
I
on.
think she just said to chill.
It's northwest. Return to the lighthouse. It's northwest of Villa. Yeah, we have to go northwest.
Alright,
And find bodies of water, I guess. Hold on.
I'm going northwest.
I need to find wherever you are. Can't get over these walls.
Northwest. There's a bad guy.
Okay. But it's so hard not to look at people's screens. This is one of the few instances where I should. To help you out.
More water. Oh my god, it's overheating.
Is there no water on either side of us?
I don't see any. Oh my god, it's gonna overheat. We're gonna fail the mission.
I'd rather go back to the regular game anyways.
I'm almost there.
There's a cooling thing, hurry. Ah, so close. Look how close you were. Oh, you can see it on your screen too, but damn. I love the two screen perspective going on
That
here.
was fun.
Oh,
Disable alarm.
It took us back to a checkpoint.
It took us back to right before I grabbed it.
Disable the alarm. Disabled.
Bad guys. Where's the bad guys?
Running
Good news, Lola.
to this
Rocco
pond
and his
over
crop
here.
from Swamp Heaven.
Oh, you have
That's
it.
what we came for.
Nice work, Danny. I'm on my way. Careful with the PG-240X. It's highly volatile.
How do I
Muchas
pull it
gracias.
out?
I was trying
Um,
to forget about that part.
Left button. It's in your wheel.
Stay in the shade. Get it in water as much as you can, and you'll be fine.
You'll be fine, she says.
Oh.
When that goes all the way down, it's cooled.
Okay. Well, we have to make it to some water source. I just don't know where that would be, you know?
No, well, it's been good about putting a little water droplet on the screen.
But yeah, but still. Like, maybe there's water over here. This way a little bit. Yeah, I don't care. Observe me. I am here. I am... Kill me, I'm here! Oh. Run!
Oh, there's crocodiles.
There is. I'm just gonna run. Run!
Yeah.
If you can, whenever you can.
Oh, that's weird.
Keeping this thing from exploding is way more important than all these fools.
Oh, yeah.
There's somebody walking this way. And here comes a crocodile. Run!
Did you cool down enough?
Yes, I did. You're gonna have to keep up with me or you'll fail a mission too. Look for me in that blue blip, follow me.
I am.
I almost failed it because I wasn't following you close enough before. Not really fair about that shit, honestly. Should be a water source in every location. Come on, get up. Get up. Fuck. I don't care about this crocodile. Don't care. I need water. I need it now. Where's water? I don't want to explode. There's no water here, I don't think. Waste of time. Waste of time. Oh, there was water. See on the map. Hurry, run. I'm going to die. Too late. I can't get up the rock. There's no climb. The climbing kind of sucks in this game compared to the fifth one.
I love that we both explode.
I really hate the special operations so far. And I'd so much rather just go
Let's
back to the regular game.
game.
Because this is naggy.
Do it.
Yes, please withdraw.
Oh.
This whole hot potato thing is not fun.
He's horrible.
The Parble needs to go Parble?
Yeah.
Needs to go potty.
Yeah.
Well, let's do. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it won't be very long. Puppy just has to hide.
All right, guys. We do, and then we will back in about 10 minutes. Guys, in a minute.
Don't wanna live in a world without you. Don't wanna live in a world without you. Don't wanna live in a world without you. Don't wanna live in a world without you.
This is crack, rock cocaine. It isn't glamorous or cool or kid stuff. It's the most addictive kind of cocaine, and it can kill you. What's really bad is nobody knows how much it takes. So every time you use it, you risk dying. It isn't worth it. Look, everybody wants to be cool, but doing it with crack isn't just wrong. It could be dead wrong.
And they're back.
Oh, a special
Don't do
customer.
crack.
So,
Did you know I found out that that commercial was done before he got in trouble? So it was almost like as if he either was doing it during the PSA or it
Lolo,
turned him
at
on
your
to it.
service.
oh,
And he was like, hey, you know what? I should try it. Since you know, I'm going to make a commercial about it. Yeah. I looked that up the other night. It's like, oh,
yeah.
we thought it was the other way around. Like he got in trouble and had to do it. What are we doing? Oh, we don't know. We have to go all the way over that way. Back and forth. We should get a car. What is that? It looks like a controller. What'd it do? Oh. That's that one thing. We don't want to do any side things right now. That was a bad experiment. Okay, so you Can't jump over anything while you're at a camp. At all. Hold on, what's this wrench do? A wrench and screwdriver.
You're a fan too, huh?
Oh, okay. Wait. So we're keeping these amazing weapons we just got from doing the special operations? Okay. Thank you.
Are we?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I enjoy what I just picked up. Do you?
I don't.
Well, no, what your loadout you just picked for special operations is what you have on you now, which is I don't know what I picked was better than what I was holding. And if you want to go through it, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Peace. I wonder if you can fly in this one. Helicopters and airplanes and stuff. I hope so.
Sorry, Waffle. No problems allowed.
That following road feature is so nice. I don't have to do anything.
That is nice.
Yeah, it's me. I rescued the rest of your so-called customers. See, I can't be friends with you.
Oh, didn't mean to do that. I moved the controller and hit the left trigger and hit the brakes.
Oh.
We both did the same at the same time. Hold on a second. You need to know what's going on over here. Good thing I got across the road when I did. Damn. You see them just blast through there. Okay. Marisol, that's the name of that character from Outer Worlds 2. That is super ironic. Well, we're way over here, and we need to go over here. I mean, we can do that later. Do the main mission first. Dude, I want to just jump into the back of these vehicles one of these days, the big trucks, and just ride around. At least see if you can. That would be hilarious. Just stow away. Huh? Fuck you too!
What's your name?
Tony! Fuck you, Tony! Fuck you! What's your name? Jeez. That was a perfect situation, though. But he didn't have to talk to strangers at all. You just shot at him. Yeah, I saw a face. I thought I needed a bullet. What? Sorry.
The sightseeing. All his face.
Dude, this game is a vibe. I know, like, we're always being hunted, and that's kind of the point of the horse, actually.
So you can get away?
Back trails. There are back trails all throughout this entire game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's like resistance trails that we could be taking. Because we're always getting hunted. I should say. We're not always.
Well, then I'm glad I high-fived his face with a bullet.
Yeah. And you can avoid being hunted by playing, you know, on the down low.
Ooh, looks yellow.
Like a modern day ninja. I mean, he's a bad guy. He's just in the middle of the street like an idiot.
Yeah, I missed. It's not easy
Should
to snipe on
take
the
over this
go.
car and just run him over. Would have liked that.
I think you want to.
Would have been good for his knees.
You shouldn't be breathing.
Are those good guys driving that truck?
You think so?
Wait, hold on. Whoa. We know this is a safe zone. I guess it would say so, like, that we were trespassing, so.
Not blasted. Oh, my God.
Get blasted. Slower than his shits. I'm sorry. You're all bricked up.
Oh, you can't aim while I'm in the vehicle? That's so stupid.
That is stupid.
Is this where we're supposed to be?
I don't know. It's definitely somewhere. Yeah.
That's not your crocodile. Oh, that's...
It might be my crocodile.
Yeah, maybe.
I find
Your
a,
helmet work? Oh, you're gonna...
Ooh.
These?
Hold on. Come on.
You're so feisty. Why are you feisty? Oh, you want a knife fight? We can knife fight. Did
That
you
wasn't-
win? Did you? Here, let me take you to your friends.
This would have been your favorite spot in the world.
Show them your victory. Guapo, stop.
Look at this.
Stop.
Check it.
Hey.
Check it. Look at my screen real quick.
Oh, that's a nice page. There's your crocodile. Kill this guy. I threw his dead flag right up.
I can't see you. I just don't know which way you've already been.
I haven't been the way I'm going.
I haven't been the way I gone.
He's hiding behind the building. He's so scared. Why are you afraid? It's just a sniper rifle. Just hurt for like 5 seconds. Depends on where he shoots you.
Whoa.
That's gonna hurt. Oh. You're getting the shoulder. You're getting the face. I have granadas. Papa. Ew.
Oh, where? I can't see shit. I don't want to fall from up here.
Look for the...
Ooh. Yeah, I need a better scope. That's what I need.
Oh, the workbench. You could have made one.
Yeah, I can't really see shit up here. Yep. Should have looked.
We come across another one out. There we will. That's what you take inside that gun. It's so neat. Oh, you were all the way up there.
Huh?
I figured out where you were.
Oh. Yeah, it took a while to get up here. I should have just stayed on the ground. I need to pick somebody that shoots instead of Guapo. if I can. If I can do that from the menu or not.
You might be able to. I'll watch your back.
Oh, that's all it's unlocked right now.
What's on?
There's a bad guy over here. Thought there'd be an explosive. God dang it. There we go. It's a kitty? It's weird it does not pick up kitties. You are not a noise to be suppressed. Oh, kitty.
Aw. That's adorable.
Yeah, throat is bothering me.
Oh, it's so
Why do you gotta walk on my stomach?
nice that it hurts you and makes you comfortable.
Search zone is very small, my friend, so where did they hide what we are looking for? Just
That's fine.
up in here. No idea what we're looking for.
Yeah, we don't know.
Hold on. Can't even read that up there. Plant the leaflet bombs. Vandalize Maria's propaganda billboards. Need to paint Maximus or millions. Bullshit. I'll put them in trash cans around the plaza near the church. Trash cans?
That's right.
I don't know, I just picked up medicine. Maybe that's part of something too. Okay, trash can. So look for those metal bins. There's one.
I don't think that one.
Alright. Any other medicine containers? But where do we paint? Oh, okay. These? No. There we go. That's shiny. Okay. Kitty. Okay. Did you find any? There's like 5 more, I believe. It's really hard to see up there on that screen. I think I need to mess with the settings because I can see it on your screen pretty well, even though it's just a little bit closer. It looks crisper. I don't think it'll be back here. There's one. Okay.
Fuck you, Castillo.
How far out do they? Oh, there's another one. So they're kind of far out, but
Bicho, going pretty good so far. Nice logo.
Gracias. Just keep those edges clean, okay?
I got it, Bicho.
Like, keep your wrists loose, okay? Smooth strokes.
I got it.
Cojones.
Love you.
Is that bad guy? Or are they shooting bad guys? Can't tell. Didn't highlight him. But he is red on my little mini map, so gotta be a bad guy. Huh. Oh, there's one.
That was great.
Just shoot him in the booty once, just to make sure. Other guy's still alive out there somewhere. It's kind of a war going on as we do our things, though, so who knows how long that little excursion will last? It could be forever.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, there just could be all the time.
Right?
People rolling in and out.
Sorry, Kevin.
I don't know, honestly. That's how Just Cause 4 was in some areas. There's just wars going on forever. And you could participate in them whenever you wanted to, and then as you progress, the war lines moved.
We have two more.
So you beat the game, and it's gone.
Oh, I see one. On the side of a building.
That's what you get.
One more.
I see it.
Nice. This cool building over here. Oh,
How do we get?
it's a little train yard. And garage for the trains. Train cars and stuff. Ooh, I want that. Give me that. Give me. I want to drive that thing around. Come on. Come on. Ah. Yield everywhere. Give me that. Give me.
How am I supposed to get
Give
to
me-
it?
Chill, daddy. Give me this. Oh, this thing has got some terrible turn radius. You get a little wide. Oh, maybe it doesn't. That was just the angle. I'm coming to get you. Oh, I hit something somehow. Oh, because I can't see the back end and it's wider than the front end, so I have to try to account for the fact that I'm like a car and not a motorcycle.
Oh, that's why we need the grappling hook. I don't know if I have grappling.
Oh, did you find another objective here?
I haven't gotten the
What
last
is
thing. I
going on?
can't get to it. Look. On the side of that building.
Oh, I got the dash ability. Do you have the dash ability equipped?
No.
It crashed just because I'm in the middle of the road. Alright.
You dash.
Jump. Do you have the jump stuff? Oh, never mind.
I can.
Hmm? Oh, wow. Hell yeah.
Bicho,
That's
we're
crazy
done.
talk. Alright. Man, I hope you can ride in the
Ready?
back of this. That's cool. Oh, okay, fine. Get out of the way. Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I am. Am I?
I'm not sure, but you should hop in my ride. Yeah, it is an alligator mobile. You're right. I just saw the back end. I didn't see it from the front.
It's alligator. I love it.
Oh, gotta climb the crane to swap them out. Oh, bruh. Wish I would have known that. Yep, we have to go back in there. Oh, don't hit me. Damn you. Fuck it. We'll just. Okay. There. He's a bad guy.
You got you. There's another racket.
Yeah, he's got a beard. Hey, beard guy. Oh, it's a helicopter.
Oh, okay. Oh. Don't you hurt that sweet angel baby. Yeah, you got what you got.
Ah, god dang it. Trying to shoot him for that tiny little window. And him's moving around a lot. Whoa, what's moving? Guapo, stop. Guapo's being a bitch. It's pushing me out into the bullets. Got him. Oh shit.
He put me
Thought
on.
that was you. Go and check. Ah.
You should probably check your helmet, bro.
Oh, that's right. You need to get on top of the crane. Oh, dude, that wasn't her fault. Oh, come on.
Where's that helicopter blanket?
Why you gotta be blinking, Lincoln? Kid.
Alright, why don't you stop talking? That's why.
Can you see the banners I'm putting up? Dude. Go.
Bicho, I can now add
It
vandalism
sways up here.
to
I
our
hate it.
capital offenses.
Oh,
No, I cannot see.
yeah. They didn't seem very big. That's why I was like, is there any point to these banners we're putting up here? It's just gonna be construction guys, and maybe the mayor might hear about it, or, you know, the bad guys, the mobsters, the drug dealers, whoever the hell. I can't remember what this is all about, honestly. Is this like cartels? I can't remember.
I don't remember. Got alligators.
Alright, I'm gonna be right back.
We are safe.
Yes, we are in a safe spot.
That's good.
Hey, de vuelta.
Un mensaje del León de Yara, el presidente Antón Castillo. I attended a funeral today. One of our soldiers, one of our finest, laid to rest in Yara's sacred soil. A famous
That doesn't seem very fast.
liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots. That is a lie.
Mira, it's starting.
And now for a special announcement.
Hello, my beautiful foreign friends. Any questions before we begin?
Minister Marquesa, are you concerned that...
How do you respond to rumors that Diego Castillo is your son? I don't. Diego Castillo is the first son of Yara and an example to all true Yarans. Now, it is my pleasure to unveil the construction of the Anton Castillo True Yaran Cultural Center.
Diamond was blue.
Oh, now you see him.
Oh, that we're exchanging one she had. I see.
It's the kind of cultural pollution we are fighting against. We just need to borrow your phones and your cameras.
Everyone in Yara saw that shit. Oh my god, Danny. We have so much to do. I'm blowing my own fucking mind.
It's a pretty game.
It's pretty.
New weapons and gear available at one arms dealer. Plural?
You're on the air.
But we are so close I can taste
We should find an arms dealer.
Why?
Yeah.
I'm there.
Oh,
Ooh.
the gator car just left.
You told me. Don't you know me? I think you can just chill.
About
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm so
well, now we know the answer to that question.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's great.
Yes. Oh my god! 4,000 meters of. Don't point that thing at me, please. Oh, 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 oh.
What the fuck?
I don't know. You don't have to. This is what I was talking about, taking the trails in the back. Off-road.
I think he's back.
Oh, we're gonna take his vehicle.
But out.
Uh-oh.
Super inconspicuous. They'll
What?
never
They'll
know.
never notice.
I'm not. Oh, they might notice.
Oh god. Wait, what? Do we have someone behind us?
Nope. I hit a button.
Okay.
Didn't mean to hit a button, but I did.
I think it's funny we drive by them and they're like, hey! And they just go about their business. Oh, you motherfucker. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? Did he just drive up on us, or did we just plow into him?
We're so far away.
That's alright. With me behind the wheel, we'll be going, whoa! You know how badly we need this?
2 seats.
Whoa.
That looks way
Whoa.
too fast.
Whoa, what's going on? I can't even, like, turn it. What's happening? Help. Turn. Thank you. But you can aim out of this thing like nobody's business. Yeah, you have an amazing view. No, we are not stopping for you. Uh-oh. He's just going for it.
He doesn't care.
Nice. No, we could probably take this thing off-road like a horse.
Only to shit that annoys me.
Probably.
Call you when I'm there.
We're going the wrong way. We're going off-road. Oh no! Oops. Oh my god. I should have just went for it and tried to ramp it. I had no idea.
Who am I looking for in Madrugada again?
You want Carlos Montero, the leader of a group of farmers trying to take back their land from the army. But he'll never meet with you.
Why not?
He's what you would call old school. Doesn't like outsiders and doesn't trust anyone except family.
Great.
Don't worry.
You get horses.
Is your in?
Yes, we can. There are plenty of horse mounts and little encampments on these little trails that I was talking about. Yes. It's like a whole nother world.
I'm a friend.
I've seen. Horse.
Nothing comes easy.
Nothing worth fighting for. Suerte, Danny.
This is the way we gotta go, right?
Following.
Easy now.
Really?
Oh.
That's...
Okay.
Okay. Is right.
Here's a-
What?
Military tobacco factory.
Oh. There's a place we can just take down if you want to. You want to? Try?
Yeah.
Now, let's see. Rank 3. Correct? Yeah, we're ranked like 4 or 5 right now. We can totally take this place down if we want to.
Vamos. Easy now.
Oh. Good person.
Come on.
Oh, hold on.
What?
There's a tunnel.
Oh,
Secret
They're building up
tunnel.
a tobacco packing plant.
There could be something useful for us there. See if you can find a computer on site. Might have some good intel for us.
Coño. What am I? Your IT technician now?
Oh, I thought I had further.
Yeah,
it's the
that's
back
right.
way in.
Danny Rojas, IT guerrilla.
Not necessarily a bad thing. Might be able to get a good vantage point from up here if there's any to be had, because there's those big old buildings in the way of a lot of that. Oh, what's that? Oh, let's go all the way up here. Might be something good. That's the workbench.
That's where you fix your weapon and make thing.
Okay. Make what thing?
Your scope and stuff.
Oh. I think I already have this best scope, I think. See? I can't install anything else.
Well, we're really I don't know what how that start with.
Way too far away to even mark anybody. We marked one person.
One.
Could shoot him from right here. And it won't matter. We're so far away. Ah,
I got their
alarm.
yeah. Right here, another 1 mile.
Now see, they're gonna come out here single file. I am such a bad shot right now. I was playing Outer Worlds for so long. Go from one game to the other.
Hard. Not an easy thing to do.
Used to things. Damn it. I thought he was gonna run further.
Not particularly hard.
Look like ants from down here. Up here.
Aw.
Nice, I got him.
You can't do
They're wrong.
broken. Where you go, fake?
It's a smart thing to do when there's a couple snipers. Ooh. I wonder if there's anything to collect down there.
Quit healing yourself. Just die.
No. Oh, wait. Is that a box of some sort? No. I'm gonna drown. Come on.
A sniper rifle? Oh, Mr. Hazmat.
Mr. Hazmat.
Yes. Mr. Hazmat. Every sniper tower has a sniper bullet.
He didn't just blow up. He did. Nice.
Rank up. Oh, one. Oh, you're somebody important. That feel good? We're giving out free bullet massages.
Bullet massages. Trigger point. Literally. Oh. Nice. Oh, we're behind. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Well, they weren't trying to pay for their bullet massages.
So I massaged their vehicle really heavily with bullets. That's what I did.
You did maintenance torn?
I did.
Oh, you giving me bullet massages. I didn't ask for them. Fight or run?
The Castillo Special Forces are hunting us right now.
Yeah, okay. Where?
They're coming right after you right now.
Good. They like to go boom.
They do. Want to explode? Oh, oh.
Ooh, more. Oh. Where are you?
One of these guys are going to be infinite. Kind of like a GTA system.
What for watchers?
Well, because it's not like 5.
That's you for anyone.
I don't know if you just want to have it out, have an all-out war. There you go.
Well, I finally got sniper ammo and picked up something.
I'm clear.
Got some gasoline? Ain't got enough gas in it. Ain't got enough gas. Where one? Inside of here? What is inside of here? Something wants to fight inside of here.
Warranty roof. Well, you didn't expect me up here.
Oh, maybe it's what I thought it was. Oh, is he the last guy?
He was getting ready
Okay.
to throw a bomb down through a skylight at you. And I climbed up on the roof and checked.
Ooh, that's a beautiful thing to have 2 screens on at once.
I didn't know what he was doing until he dropped his little lady bomb thing. Oh, wow. Sneaky.
Nice.
What you're not doing.
We have stuff to collect here, too.
So.
It was. I like doing the bases in 5. And being able to repeat them in New Dawn was really good. I thought I had to do a New Game Plus. Be able to reset them and stuff. And do different difficulties, like I was talking about earlier. Ooh. There is a whole bunch of stuff in here, though.
It's even like that.
Guapo, is that? It was Guapo.
Hi there.
something over here too, on this side. Over here. Medicine, I think? Oh, a whole bunch of things. Oh no, I started a fire in there. Damn it. It's such a huge drawback. And it kills the NPCs and then you get blamed for it too. There's somebody. What was that noise? It's like a zombie.
Take it.
Trade everything I can. Right? Ooh, these are for building and upgrading things. Yeah. Ooh. There's some type of rocket launcher type thing, I think. I don't know. Thanks. Yeah, I can inspect it. Oh. Like a crossbow thing. Flamethrower. And what is that? Razzle dazzle and destroy your enemy. So it's kind of like a homemade missile launcher? I'm confused. Like a volley of them, and this. I don't know, man. I'm confused. Can I even buy any of these things? And say how much they are. Hmm. Oh, you buy them with depleted uranium. Didn't know that. Nice. Bought something I didn't even need. Yeah. Very good. Ah, love it.
I'm not much of a do.
Yeah, this is a good experiment, though. I'm glad that we were able to get this to work.
It's so much fun. I want to do it.
Sounds good. It's super late. We should be done.
I have
Anyways,
things I have to do.
yeah. Huh? It's been fun. I agree. What time do we gotta be doing the things?
I might have to call people.
Oh, let's see. Well, good night, everybody.